Yeah.
He's smiling over here.
What if Will hated it?
Then I don't know.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is I'm Watching This Show, your twice weekly pop culture podcast where we talk about movies, TV, music, and more. And as always, this is a spoiler show, so you have been warned. On today's episode, we are going to have a not very timely, it's like a year and a week late, but
we're timely because the new episode dropped today, or the new
Well,
season dropped today.
It dropped like
4 days ago.
We're going to talk about season 1 of Ted Lasso. Woo!
I always figured that tea was just going to taste like hot brown water. And you know what? I was right. Yeah, it's horrible. No, thank you.
Welcome to England.
Well, something that I think we need to do, I have my reasons, we'll get into it, but I think we should actually sell the show a little bit.
Okay.
So it is the story of an American football coach who gets brought to England to coach a soccer football team.
Football.
And we find out in the opening of the first episode that the owner of the club, Rebecca Welton, is trying to get back at her ex-husband. And her plan is to destroy the team, the club, because it's all he's ever loved in the world. And so that's why she hires Ted Lasso, who knows nothing about it, to come over and do it.
Like, so much so that, like, in the finale, he is still asking a referee to explain the offsides rule to him, which is very funny.
And the only hitch in that plan is that everybody likes Ted Lasso.
Not at first.
Pretty much.
But, yeah.
Everybody can't help but root for him.
Yeah.
And it causes conflict.
Hijinks.
Yeah. It causes conflict and a not very conflict-ridden show.
Yeah.
So I have never seen anything like this. I didn't know what it was. I thought he was like a goof. I thought it was like a Steve Carell in The Office thing.
No, it's like a Steve Rogers in the MCU thing.
Or like a Leslie Knope in season 3 of Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
And so I just couldn't have cared less about it if I tried, because I was like, I don't want to watch Jason Sudeikis be a doofus in a show about sports. I was like, I don't care about sports. I don't care about any of this stuff.
That's the thing, is like, it's just like Friday Night Lights, where it's like not about the football. It's like, that's not the important part.
And another thing that I wouldn't have expected from this show, well, the first thing I wouldn't have expected from the show was heart.
Yeah.
The second thing was a wealth of interesting and dynamic female characters.
Yeah.
It blindsided me. So I loved it. I sat down to, you didn't sell it to me right, but I also prefer that because I prefer getting to this place here now.
I didn't want to spoil it either. And I feel like if I were to be like, but he's like the nicest man and he's so uplifting and everybody comes to love him and like gather around him like a team, I think that would have been too much.
Because you get there. But I sincerely, I sat down and watched the first episode with my brother, and I was like 10 minutes into the episode where I was like, oh, this is not what I thought we were doing.
Yeah. I think the minute it snagged me is when he and Coach Beard are on the plane and they are like talking to each other, and it's like actually really nice, and they're getting ready to like go to sleep for the transatlantic flight. They're trying to be like responsible or whatever. And then Ted Lasso just gets up and turns around again and goes, hey,
If we see each other in our dreams, let's goof around a little bit, pretend like we don't know each other. You got it, stranger. Nice.
Amazing. That was literally the moment when I was like, oh, this show is something.
I would have never created that dynamic.
Yeah.
Like between them. The Coach Beard thing is so funny. I thought of our friend Tim the whole time I was watching this.
100%.
Especially Coach Beard made me think of Tim.
100%.
I absolutely love the gumption and the gusto that both Ted Lasso and Jason Sudeikis tackle everything with.
Yeah.
I love how funny he is, which in turn makes him it's raining.
Oh, okay. So I was like, is the drywall gonna crumble around
No, it's
us?
raining outside. I love how funny he is, which in turn makes him not funny.
Yeah.
Which in turn makes it funny. Like the line he had with Rebecca where she was like,
I have a branding meeting.
Oh, I always feel so bad for the cows, but you got to do it, otherwise they get lost.
just deadpan.
100%.
And she just sort of looks at him and he was like, that kill back in Kansas. He's
Yep.
like, I'd be sitting here waiting for you to finish laughing.
Yep.
And the fact that he had to know going in that joke was going to land like a dud.
Yeah.
But he did it anyways, committed to it, and then acknowledged the fact that it was a total and utter dud. It was just so bizarre. Like, and I think the moment for me was the tea.
Sure. Which that's a runner. So the tea is a runner, but then the fizzy water bookends the series or the season. And that I think was one of my favorites.
It's
like the very last thing that he does to Rebecca in the finale is she like gets him some water and he sprays it all over her face. Did you not?
Did I not
finish this
see
show?
the last? It ends with him going out to the game.
What game?
There's like a big game. Did I not see the last episode?
I'm gonna fucking kill you.
He like gives him a pep talk in the locker room.
Uh-huh.
And they like go out to like play the game.
But then they play the game.
I didn't see the last episode.
Okay, we have to go watch the last episode. You are a nightmare.
No, I thought it ended. It didn't pop up for the next episode.
No, there's definitely 10 episodes.
I thought I watched. Oh.
No.
It'll be fine.
It will not be fine. We have to go watch it. Because I have things to talk about from the finale.
Okay. We'll be back.
back.
Okay, I had not seen the last episode.
We have now watched it.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
Well, it was large. No, I was gonna say it was largely soccer stuff, so it didn't really matter. Because I didn't fully. They're like not professional now.
They're still professional soccer players, but there's like different levels.
It's like JV and varsity.
Sort of.
Okay.
So they're now in the championship, which is lower than the Premier League, which is like the Premier League is all the teams you've heard of.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's a lot of soccer apparently.
Yeah, well, every country in the world except for America loves it. So
I mean, Orlando has it, and the city loves it. I mean,
enough. They love it enough.
But no, there was important character work. I don't know where this show gets off. Is my issue. It's Bill Lawrence is the creator.
So Scrubs, that's what I was gonna say.
Scrubs and Cougar Town, which before I even realized that, this was pinging my Cougar Town senses.
Okay.
It's very pleasing.
Yeah.
It's very aesthetically pleasing in ways that it doesn't need to be.
Yep.
The neighborhood was very pleasant in that World Showcase way.
Yeah. So next time we go to England, we're gonna go to Richmond. We're gonna try to find that pub.
I thought you meant like in Epcot. I was like, okay.
No, I mean we can go to the England pub in Epcot though.
His apartment is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
The colors are a very nice saturation.
That's the thing. It's like
her clothes.
Rebecca's clothes are. Can't even talk about it. But it's like it's a very bright show because most of it takes place in the daytime. It's very colorful because even without the jerseys, there's like the very green grass, the very blue sky. Like,
well, and even at night,
Rebecca's clothes.
There's lights, there's lighting, there's that word that I haven't learned yet, the Scandinavian word that means like warmth.
I think it's higa. Higa.
I was like, Horga.
It's not Horga.
It's not
we
Horga.
don't want to bring that energy here.
And there's just a cast of characters that was also very Cougar Town and Scrubs.
Yeah.
Because I was just sort of writing things down. That's part of my whole not knowing where to start with the show, because I was just writing down everything that I liked.
Yeah, and
I reached
so much
point where I'm like the young black girl in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
That is just kind of always playing with him.
So cute, right?
And like teaching his son soccer. And then there's the three hooligans, and the one of them warms up before the other two.
And the bartender, or the bar owner, May, yeah.
Oh my God, I love May. She's so
many Outlander fans, she is Mrs. Fitz from season 1.
I was going to say, she was familiar to me, but I want that. I want like a neighborhood pub. This would get me into
football.
Sports.
Yeah.
Well, they're like warriors.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen games on the show, but this last episode in particular with the night and the raining and everything, and it was filmed so beautiful, which is good.
I have to tell you right now, if you liked that, you would really like Friday Night Lights.
I'm there. I'm kind of like a low-key Apple TV stan.
No, for sure.
I've only watched a handful of the shows, but it reminds me of what Netflix was doing when it launched
at the beginning,
like 12 and 13, where it's like, it's very solid quality content that has the money it needs.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because you could do the show for cheaper. And it's not an expensive show, but
no, I would say the most expensive thing in this show is probably Jason Sudeikis.
Well, and again, like I said, I mean, the filming this last episode was there was cinematography and stuff, but just the cast of character. This is the opposite of toxic masculinity. And I need like a WWTLD bracelet.
What would Ted Lasso do?
Yeah. Because I was so curious, because there's such a thing as toxic positivity. Mm-hmm. And I was so curious if the show was going to touch on that. And the answer is yes, it touched on it. It's not a huge part of season 1, although it was very impressive and downright erotic when he got mad, when he was like, when he actually got mad.
Jamie, Mm-hmm.
Not a game. Not the game. We're talking about practice with your team, with your teammates. The only place that we get to play together, we got control over. Rest of the time, it's us 11 against those 11. We're talking about practice, man. I'm talking about practice, and you can't do it because you're hurt. Right? It's fine by me. Tell you what, do me a favor. When you get out there, set the cones so the other reserves can do a little passing drill.
You want me to set up cones?
I really appreciate it.
When he finally made his point about that, it made a lot of sense because he was like, this is the only time that we can play together when it's like not an actual competition and you're sitting out of this like bonding exercise. And he was so pissed. No, it was good. Or erotic. I was like, where are you going with it? Because like his divorce is not erotic in any way.
Well, even that, it's sort of like it's like the Sarah Marshall conundrum.
Yeah.
Where it's like the fact that this show not only resisted the urge to make Andrea Anders a shrew.
Yeah. No, she's not.
Like you can, in the one well, she's in 2 episodes, I guess, but in the first episode she's in, you can see her wanting to want this.
And she even says, she's like, if I could do something that would just make me happy again, I would do it. And she doesn't want to get divorced. She just is not there anymore.
And I just was waiting for her to have been like, I've met someone or blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And even, I think there's something to be said for, there doesn't have to be another person.
Of course not.
For something to not work.
Sometimes marriages just don't work out.
Every possible place that lesser shows. And I mean, it's not about lesser. I don't like saying that, but there's so many conventional twists and turns that shows take. And if there were 10 conventional places to go, this show took 1. Do you know what I mean? Like I
thought that's the thing is I also wouldn't say lesser shows, but I think there was an inordinate amount of care taken with this show in a way that I think a lot of shows are just like, we made an episode, and this show is like, we have to be on our message in every episode.
Yeah, and there's such a cast of characters, and I think it's an accomplishment to have a cast of characters where everybody's likable, and everybody's good, and like there's no excuse. What
I mean, Jamie Tart is
we're still dealing.
We're gonna get there, but he is the least likable of the bunch for sure.
So 1.
Well, yeah.
And also, I'm sorry, but the Jamie Tart, Jamie Tart, that was really funny.
So consequently, we just watched this with Rachel. Baby Shark has been stuck in my head for like 8 days.
There's really no excuse for Juno Temple's role in this show. It's welcome. And on top of that, she's not relegated to or defined by her role as Jamie's girlfriend.
Yeah.
So much so that is stated to her in the third episode by the lead of by Ted Lasso, where he's like, you're so much more than his girlfriend.
It also, she thought that they had made a mistake when they asked if she wanted the role. She was like, I don't do comedy. You want me for this? And apparently she was on that show Vinyl that Olivia
Wilde
was on, and so that's how Jason Sudeikis knew about her, and he just was like, nope, we want you, that's it.
She was not the obvious choice.
No, but I think it's a miraculous performance.
But it's also so, because I texted you, and you said no, and I still agree, but I texted you, I was like, is she meant to be like Katie Price or something? Like, is she like...
Isn't Katie Price like a garbage person?
Kind of. They're like glamour models.
Oh, okay.
There's like a tier of celebrity. It's not unlike, it's between like a Kardashian and a Jersey Shore.
Okay.
And you get, so Keely's meant to be tacky.
So of course, but I thought you were asking, is she like a bad trash garbage person?
Well,
and I was like, no.
I don't know Katie Price.
No,
this is not an assessment.
No, I just thought that's.
I think she's like isn't it like Page Six Girls or something?
Maybe. Yeah.
They're like, she literally was like, I'm
famous for almost being famous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like I said, she's outright tacky.
Yeah.
But she also has this like rich inner life. I got so mad at her in a good way where it's like halfway through the season and I'm like, can she not be alone? She can't handle it.
Oh, I mean,
like,
I don't know that it's necessarily that, or if it's just that a better option presented itself.
But it was when she thought Roy was mad at her and went right back to Jay. And I was like, girl, spend the night by yourself for once.
Hey,
like,
sometimes you just want to get laid.
If
Jamie Tart is anything, he's hopefully reliable in bed. I mean,
what motivates him? I find that blowjobs. The fact that her character A exists in the show, B that she has a genuine friendship with Ted Lasso, and then we witness a friendship bloom with Rebecca. Wild.
Yeah.
Why, especially for like a man show.
Yep.
Like it's so weird. That does bring me to Rebecca. Again, there's so many characters and there's so many facets of this show that I've just really never seen anything like it.
Well, because I could do 15 minutes on Trent Crimm from The Independent.
Trent Crimm, The Independent. Trent Crimm, The Independent. Trent Crimm, The Independent.
Hello, Coach Ted Lasso from America.
Hello, Trent Crimm from The Independent. Trent Crimm, The Independent.
Trent Crimm, The Independent.
Oh, how about Trent Crimm? And if memory serves, you're from the Daily Planet, yeah?
Trent Crimm, The Independent.
Ah, yes, that's the one. Okay, what's your question, Trent?
You know what I mean? Like...
The names, too. It just
it's so good.
Rebecca is ostensibly the villain for, the first 8 episodes of the show, but is also somehow one of the most likable, one of the most compelling, like, because we understand her. We're frequently on her side.
Yeah. I'm on her side completely with her plan, with the only exception being that she is making Ted Lasso's life harder. But I'm like, yeah, stick it to Rupert. Fuck that guy. He's such an asshole.
Terrible.
Such an asshole.
Even new Rebecca seems kind of sweet.
Yeah.
Like, and the fact that like they resisted the urge to make Rebecca a shrew.
You shrew. You did this, didn't you? Why so hostile, Nathan?
Or a bitch. I mean, she's like a cactus.
Yeah.
She's like a little bit prickly.
Yep.
She's strong and prickly.
No,
like,
100%. I love that episode where Keely just comes in and is like, I've decided I'm going to stop being scared of you. And she was like, were you?
She just was like, I didn't know that you were.
Yeah.
And it's like, you kind of, come on. Is that not by design?
Well, I think that's one of the things about this show that's so fascinating is what you said about like Keely has a rich inner life, but like so does everybody. And so it's that sort of thing where like, I think Rebecca knows that she's tall and can be imposing, but I think because she's got that like wounded, gooey center, she's like, I'm as vulnerable as everybody else.
Well,
no one can be scared of me.
It's like sometimes people, and especially women, are just cold.
Yeah.
That's not some moral failing.
No.
Like it's a trait. It's a personality trait. Like I mean, I wouldn't call Coach Beard cold, but he's not warm.
He's
I mean, he's not.
But he's also not prickly, and Rebecca's a little prickly. He just is stoic.
Well, also, but she has, and I mean this in a very, 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 with a very light hand, she has that kind of Cersei Lannister vibe.
Sure, yeah.
Where it's like, I feel like a lot of things were done to Rebecca. Like,
oh, well, yeah. I mean,
I feel like she got to this place. Like,
organically?
Well, no, I was going to say, like, it was hard. It was hard. It was from a weathered, like.
She like weathered many storms and arrived at this place.
And I just like that scene with her and Keely about the like topless Majorca.
Oh, yeah.
And she like shows the picture because Keely, sorry, she was like, you wouldn't have mentioned it if you weren't dying.
Yeah, dying to show somebody.
And then just like Keely leaving, and Rebecca's like, shoes. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. She was like, you really blew my brains out with those fabulous breaths of yours. Because she, I mean, like Will said, it was like, he was like, she's got like step on my neck energy.
Oh,
like,
yeah, big step on my neck.
Whew.
There are two people in this show that I would let step on my neck. And the second one is Roy Kent.
You would risk it all for Roy Kent.
I would throw my entire life away for Roy Kent. I find him so appealing. The fact that he also has this warm, gooey center in the middle of all of this like blustery, like angry, not like British soccer hooligan nonsense. I'm just like obsessed with him.
I'm Roy Kent and I play a game for a living. But I don't have any fun.
I'm Roy Kent, and I get paid to play a game, but I'm mad all the time.
That's actually pretty good.
So funny. She's so good. So I read an interview with her too, and she was talking about how she was like, are you sure you want me? Because this is not what I do or whatever. And they were like, no, 100%. And so apparently the whole cast was like really generous with her, like learning comedy, like in the process. And she was like, it was just so helpful.
And the show is just thoughtful. Yeah. It's just thoughtfully scripted and plotted. Like and like, we'll go with like episode 6. We find out it's a throwaway line that Higgins, who we've already seen has this family.
Yep.
It's a very Jerry from Parks and Rec thing.
Yeah.
There's a throwaway line about his cat, Cindy Clawford, who's going to die and it's going to wreck him.
Because she's 20.
And then in the next episode, it has nothing to do with the cat whatsoever, but they all have to sacrifice something important to them. And he just reaches out her collar.
And says she was a faithful companion.
It sent a shockwave through me. How the character work that did for Higgins, the like investment as an audience, the return on my investment as an audience member for paying attention and caring about this stuff.
Higgins also is like, he could just be like a normal sad sack who's got an overbearing boss. And yet he is sort of like Jerry on Parks and Rec, where once you realize he's got this beautiful, loving family at home and he's totally content with his entire life outside of working for Rebecca, it just makes him even that much more appealing.
But it also, their relationship grows.
It does.
He reaches a limit and tells her
she fuck off.
She realizes she went too far. Yeah. She apologizes to him. Yeah. Like it's just
plus it was all worth it for that stupid beard. That stupid Van Dyke beard. And the playing the upright bass.
Upright bass, yeah. It's just wild how like things working out can also be entertaining and downright enrapturing. You know, I don't have any actual notes. I just wrote Danny Rojas.
Danny Rojas, Danny Rojas,
Danny Rojas!
It's just...
He's great.
So funny.
Yeah, he's super great. I like the other, like, handful of Richmond players.
I love Sam. They started something with him and Rebecca. They had a meet cute.
They did have a kind of a little meet cute. It was nice. In the Curse episode.
Uh-huh. Yeah. It's the kind of thing that it doesn't have to go anywhere, but also if it picks up, I'm not going to be surprised at all. Yeah. But I I love because he's the one who really liked magic because of Harry Potter.
Yeah. But I like that other handful of players that get lines. I like Colin. I like Isaac. I like Richard. And there's another one too, but I can't remember his name. Well, Zorro, the goalie, we get him kind of late in the game. He's pretty cool too.
It's not Zorro.
It's not Zorro, it's Zorro.
Yeah, Chris, it's pronounced Zorro.
I was curious because you said you really liked it when Ted got angry. What did you feel about when Coach Beard got really angry? Because Ted kept on going on his like, it's not about winning, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, that's okay when we're coaching football. These are adult professionals and this is their livelihood. You can't
He let him have it.
I liked it too.
Yeah.
I thought it was like super necessary.
They're fucking the Diamond Dogs. That
The Diamond Dogs have struck again.
Little pricks.
it just happens so organically.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm gonna go deep. This show makes me want to give my life another go. Like, I wish I could go back and
have this attitude more.
Yeah, and it's something that I mean, not to make it about me, not to do. I do it frequently, but and it's not even really patting myself on the back, but it was like I had a realization in college where I was like, oh, in the adult world, most people are just nice, and or just trying to get by, like just trying to do their thing.
Most people aren't out to get anybody
because there's nothing but mind games in school.
Fucking mind games.
And it's like there's this weird hierarchy, and it can damage people to such an extent that they don't realize well into adulthood and stuff. And I mean, I did have this theory that if you're just like a nice person or a good person, that things will even out.
Yeah.
And it just makes me realize how many situations I preemptively removed myself from out of fear of disapproval.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Like,
I mean, that's same for me.
Because it doesn't faze him at first that he is persona non grata.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't know how to deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Like, he has faith and confidence in his ability to do a job he was hired for. And it blows my mind. Blew my brains out. Like, it just, and I'm like, oh, I'm valid as a human and can go about the world. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to have permission to do these things.
You exist, and that's pretty much all you need.
It really, I hope it sticks with me. Like, I hope that is the case. That's the moral. You know, we're just jumping all around. Like I said, it was kind of retrospective. I don't have many specific things to say about Nate. I love Nate.
Yeah.
I wrote that he's afraid of aging.
Yes, that was really funny. I do love that Ted has one line where he's like, just another juicy layer of the Nate onion. Because it's like everything he says, you're like, huh, I would not have anticipated that from you.
I also wrote down another specific example of how this show is good and different from other shows. It's when Nate gets locked in the cargo hold of the bus.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that plenty of shows would do.
Mm-hmm.
And they wouldn't find him either all weekend.
Yeah.
He'd be down there all weekend or like once they traveled there and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But the show threatened us with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the last minute, they're not even out of the parking lot by the time that Ted finds him.
Yeah.
And so it's like we got the satisfaction of that concept in this show, but then also didn't actually put the character through the trauma of
Well,
it.
and then there even is a funnier tag to it at the end, which is that's just where he curled up hungover because he didn't want to miss the bus the next morning. So they just find him there.
Which is a valid that he would be the one that got left behind.
Course,
and so he adjusted to it.
Yeah, it was so funny.
Yeah, like I said, I have never seen, or that I can recall, I've seen very few things quite like this. It's doing gangbusters at awards.
Yeah, it's nominated for like the most Emmys this year, I think. Oh, yeah, because this is the one it tied Glee for the most. Well, it's a very
but still, it's like
a very specific thing. It's like the most nominations for a freshman comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious what you think. If you have any opinions on like what's going to happen with Jamie, because at the very end tag, he's like a total twat the entire series, like even up into the finale being like, Ted is playing mind games with me when he like cannot fathom that Ted is just like, no, do a good job.
That a father figure would be nice to him?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That he's like, hey, I want you to do good. And Jamie's just like, these mind games, I don't understand. But then we finally see his dad. I mean, he's a grown man. Jamie's a grown man, and his dad is throwing shit at him in like the training room.
And that's when he won.
That's when he still won, but he made the extra pass, which is what Ted was trying to get him to do. So you know that he's taken something on board. And I just wonder if you think he's going to go backwards or forwards. I would hope he still goes forwards, but I wonder if we're going to have a setback first.
Based on what this show did in season 1, I think forward.
Yeah.
That leads me to believe he's still on the show. I know Danny Rojas was promoted.
They're all still on the show.
Well, Danny was promoted because he's in the poster. Like he's
nice.
like one of the 5 faces on the front. So
I mean, he comes in like halfway through season 1, so he couldn't have been, but yeah.
We will see Jamie again.
Yeah.
I firmly believe. Did we have any strong feelings on like romantic pairings? I mean, do you think that there's something there with Ted and Rebecca?
No, I don't think so. I think Rebecca's friend Sassy's going to come back in the picture.
I think she served her purpose.
I think she served her purpose, but there's nothing to say they can't have like another fling. I don't know. He might get another love interest. I don't think Rebecca. I prefer them being completely platonic. But
well, I feel that way with Keely, which I mean, it wouldn't hurt to have a man. What, you like Ted and Keely?
No. Oh, sorry. No, I like Roy and Keely.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. I want that to keep happening.
Her coming in at the end. And especially like having it punctuated with the beginning where she's like, I've never cared about football.
Yes.
So it literally that she only cares about him.
Yeah. It was just so good. Like that whole thing was so good because you can you kind of see it coming. You're like, well, he's going to save this, but something's going to happen. He can't, it has to be a thing. And then them just all like chanting him off the field. And he's like 40, like Brett Goldstein is 41. And so if he's meant to be of an age, that's old for a professional athlete. Someone tell Tom Brady. And so I just feel like I'm interested to see what he's going to do too. Like, is he going to get into coaching as well? Or is he going to try to still be on the team or what? Like, I'm really curious.
Yeah. I was going to say back with Juno Temple, we're frequently saying that you should go with comedians to do drama. It's easier to teach a comedian drama than a drama comedian.
Yeah. It's easier to teach a comedian to do drama than it is to teach a dramatic actor to do comedy.
Mm-hmm. But I guess she's the rare.
So I think she's always had some comedy in her because as early as Atonement, I mean, that's a dark role, but she gets some jokes off for sure. And then that movie that we liked, Youth in Revolt, she's in that. She's pretty funny in that too.
Well, and I mean, she managed 2 different Maleficent movies as Thistle Twat. So
Thistle Twit. That's not a well-written character, but I hope she got her fucking coin.
Whatever's there is solely from her performance.
Yeah.
Whatever we see is all her. So,
but I totally agree. Like having her come in there and be that dramatic presence that is needed to be in that moment, I think is totally right. She sells that so well, and
I think in many ways she is Keely.
Yeah.
Coming into this world that she's kind of unfamiliar with and maybe not sure she belongs in.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that Keely is doing. So
I think the moment when when Roy comes back to her and he's like, I'm done being mad about you sleeping with Jamie. And then she makes him do press with her and she just keeps running different seats going, Keely Jones, the independent woman.
But it's different
Sunday
every
insert.
time. Yeah. It's like the online edition.
Yeah, it's so good.
Mr. Kent?
Yeah.
Hi, Keely Jones, the independent woman.
Yeah, you.
Keely Jones, the independent woman online edition.
Yeah, woman with the hair.
Keely Jones, the independent woman magazine.
Yeah, woman with the fucking eyes.
Keely Jones, the independent woman insert on Sunday. Could you please elaborate on the hip movement that makes your penis feel like it has a curve in it?
Right, no more questions. We'll see you on the pitch.
I can't wait to keep watching. I'm curious. I don't think we're going to cover this episodically. I don't know what that would be like.
Probably not. We might check in a couple times or at
I guess
least
let
at
us
the
know
end.
if you have any thoughts or demands.
If you'd like us to speak about Ted Lasso episodically, we're not saying no.
Because otherwise I might wait. I don't know. We'll see.
The end, yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yep.
So I think we're also going to kind of watch Schmigadoon.
Oh, yep.
And we have, if you like what you're doing, like what we're doing, please like and subscribe. I know it's annoying every time people say that, but it actually is super helpful. And we would like to make money doing this, because if we could make money doing this, then we would do more of it and better.
Speaking of money, we have a Patreon if you would like to give us some coin in the meantime while we're waiting to become YouTube famous.
Patreon.com/so I'm watching the show. We are currently covering, believe it or not, because I haven't updated and I need to.
Oh, yeah.
We're covering season 7 of Drag Race, and we have a back catalog of plenty of stuff. We said 911 on Fox, Riverdale, Magicians,
The Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raised by Wolves.
You do keep saying that.
So head on over to our Patreon or our website, soimwatching.com, which links out to everything, including Fairy Tale, if you want to read a book.
Look, we wedged it in again. I hope that person's still watching.
There is an aging athlete and a weird sports game.
And he's having emotional problems.
He really is.
It works.
So okay.
Also, we want Hannah Waddingham for one of the roles. So let's do that. Yeah, you can also follow us on Twitter @SoI'mWatching and Instagram @SoI'mWatchingTheShow. And that's it for us.